The lock clicked, and I knew something was wrong before I even pushed open the door. Call it instinct, or maybe just the way the afternoon light hit the hallway at a strange angle. But my stomach dropped as I stepped into my childhood bedroom. My name is Alina, and I was about to discover just how quickly a family can fall apart. Oh my God. The words escaped in a whisper as I took in the carnage. My dresser drawers hung open like gaping wounds, clothes strewn across the hardwood floor. The vintage vanity mirror my mother left me lay shattered, its silver frame twisted and bent. I fumbled for my phone, dialing my father's number with trembling fingers. It rang 4 times before going to voicemail. Of course, he was probably still at work, or worse, with her. "Dad, someone broke in. My room is destroyed. Please call me back." Footsteps echoed in the hallway, the distinct click of designer heels against hardwood. I didn't need to turn around to know who it was. "What happened here?" Stephanie's voice dripped with artificial concern. "Alina, did you do this?" I spun around, anger rising in my throat. "Are you serious? I just got home." Well, nothing else in the house was touched. She crossed her arms, perfectly manicured nails tapping against her sleeve. "How convenient that only your room was targeted. My mother's locket is gone." I rushed to my jewelry box, desperately rifling through the remaining pieces. The only thing I had left of her, and it's gone. "Oh, sweetie." Stephanie's lips curved into what might have passed for sympathy if you didn't know better. "Are you sure you didn't misplace it? Or perhaps stage this for attention?" My phone buzzed, a text from my father. "On my way home. Don't touch anything." "I would never," I started, but Stephanie was already pulling out her own phone. "Curtis, honey, you need to come home right away. I'm worried about Alina. She's destroyed her room and is making wild accusations." "That's not true," I shouted, loud enough that I knew my father would hear through her phone. 20 minutes later, my father burst through the front door. I ran to him, relief flooding through me, but stopped short when I saw his expression. "Alina," he said, his voice tight. "What's going on?" "Someone broke in, Dad. They trashed my room and stole Mom's locket." Stephanie appeared at his side, sliding her arm through his. "Honey, I came home early and heard noises from upstairs. When I checked, I found her throwing things around her room. I think she needs help." "That's a lie." I could hear the hysteria creeping into my voice. "Dad, you know I would never—" "Then how do you explain why only your room was targeted?" he asked, his tone maddeningly reasonable. "The alarm system wasn't triggered. No signs of forced entry." I don't know," I admitted, "but I didn't do this." "Curtis," Stephanie murmured, "remember what Dr. Harrison said about attention-seeking behavior?" My father's face softened with pity. "The kind reserved for unstable people. Maybe we should call him again." "I'm not crazy," I said, my voice barely above a whisper, "and I can prove it." They both stared at me, waiting. "I installed a camera in my room last month," I said, watching Stephanie's perfectly composed face, "after my things started going missing." For just a second, so quick I almost missed it, Stephanie's mask slipped. Fear flickered across her features before she recovered. "That's ridiculous," she scoffed. "Curtis, she's obviously lying. There's no camera." But I was already pulling up the app on my phone. "The footage uploads automatically to cloud storage. Should we watch it together?" "Enough," my father's voice boomed through the room. "Alina, this has to stop. These accusations against Stephanie, this destruction, it's unacceptable." "But Dad—" "No, clean this up. We'll discuss consequences later." He turned and walked out, Stephanie following close behind. As she passed me, she whispered, "Nobody likes a troublemaker, dear." I waited until I heard their bedroom door close before grabbing my phone again. This time, I called my cousin Michaela. "Can you come get me?" I asked, fighting back tears. "And bring your laptop. I need help downloading some security footage." "I'll be there in 15, she replied without hesitation. "Don't let them gaslight you, Allie. We'll figure this out." I ended the call and looked around my destroyed room, at the remnants of my mother's mirror glinting in the fading light. Stephanie might think she'd won this round, but she had no idea what she'd just started. I touched the hidden camera, barely visible behind my bookshelf, and allowed myself a small smile. Game on, Stephanie. Game on. Holy shit, Michaela breathed, leaning closer to her laptop screen. Play that part again. We sat cross-legged on her bed, surrounded by empty coffee cups and half-eaten snacks. It was nearly midnight, but sleep was the last thing on my mind as we reviewed the footage for the third time. The video showed Stephanie entering my room at 2:47 p.m., phone pressed to her ear. "Yes, everything's ready," she said to whoever was on the other end. "The girl won't know what hit her." She began methodically pulling drawers open, dumping their contents onto the floor. "Wait," I said, pointing at the screen. "There, zoom in on her hand." Michaela adjusted the video. My mother's locket dangled from Stephanie's fingers, catching the afternoon light. "That manipulative witch," Michaela muttered. But who was she talking to? We didn't have to wait long for an answer. At 3:12 p.m., a man entered the frame. Tall, well-dressed, probably in his 50s. He and Stephanie spoke in hushed tones, their heads close together. "I'll make sure the insurance claim looks legitimate," he said, his voice barely audible. "But remember our deal, Steph. Once the girl's out of the picture, just handle your end." Stephanie cut him off. "I've got Curtis wrapped around my finger. Soon enough, there won't be any trace of his previous life left." My hands clenched into fists. Previous life. I'm his daughter, not some old furniture she can throw away. "We need to show this to your dad," Michaela said, but I shook my head. "He won't believe it. You heard him earlier. He thinks I'm making everything up." "Then we need more evidence." Michaela paused the video on the mystery man's face. "Who is this guy? He seems professional, like maybe he's done this before." I pulled out my phone and snapped a picture of the screen. "I don't know, but I'm going to find out. Stephanie's been trying to push me out since day one. But this is different." "What do you mean?" "Remember last Christmas?" I asked, scrolling through old photos. "When Dad's vintage watch collection disappeared." "Yeah, they blamed it on a break-in." "Oh." Michaela's eyes widened. "You think insurance fraud?" I finished. "And that's probably just the beginning." My phone buzzed with a text from my father. "Coming home tomorrow. We need to talk about your behavior." "My behavior?" I scoffed, showing Michaela the message. Meanwhile, his wife is plotting with some stranger in my bedroom. "Allie," Michaela said softly, "what exactly are you planning to do?" I stood up and walked to her window, staring out at the city lights. "The annual family reunion is in 2 weeks. Everyone will be there. Aunts, uncles, cousins. Even Dad's best friend Stanley is flying in from Chicago. You want to expose her in front of everyone?" "I want the truth to come out. All of it." I turned back to face her. "But I need help. Will you—" "Don't even finish that sentence," Michaela interrupted. "I'm in, 100%. A notification popped up on my phone. An email from Dad's company newsletter. I almost dismissed it until a familiar face caught my eye. "Michaela," I gasped, "look at this." The email announced new partnership deals, complete with photos of the executives involved. And there, smiling professionally at the camera, was the same man from my bedroom. "Marcus Reynolds," I read aloud, "head of insurance operations." "Well, well," Michaela grinned. "Looks like Stephanie's friend isn't as careful as he thinks." I forwarded the email to myself, then deleted it from my phone. 2 weeks, I said. 2 weeks to gather everything we need. Think that's enough time to take down a gold-digging stepmother and her insurance fraud buddy? Michaela cracked her knuckles dramatically. Challenge accepted. My phone buzzed again. Another text from Dad. "Stephanie suggested family counseling. Think about it." I showed Michaela the message and laughed darkly. "Oh, I'll give them something to discuss in therapy." "Allie," Michaela said, her tone serious now. "Just be careful, okay? Stephanie seems dangerous." "I know." I sat back down beside her, watching the frozen image of Stephanie and Marcus plotting in my bedroom. but so am I. She came into my home, married my father, and now she's trying to erase every trace of my mother. She has no idea who she's dealing with. Damn straight. Michaela nodded. Now let's make a plan, a real one. As we stayed up late, into the night, plotting and planning, I felt something I hadn't experienced in months. Hope. Stephanie might have my father fooled for now, but her perfect facade was about to crack, and I would be there, front and center, when it all came crumbling down. I found my father in his study, exactly where he always retreated when things got complicated. The leather chair creaked as he looked up from his laptop, his reading glasses perched on the edge of his nose, just like they used to be when he'd help me with homework. "Dad, we need to talk." I closed the door behind me, my tablet clutched to my chest like a shield. "If this is about yesterday, just watch this, please." I placed the tablet in front of him, the video already queued up. 5 minutes, that's all I'm asking. He sighed but nodded, and I pressed play. The footage showed Stephanie entering my room, the phone conversation, the destruction. I watched his face carefully, waiting for the realization to hit, for him to finally see the truth. Instead, he pushed the tablet away. "This proves nothing." "What?" I rewound the video. "Dad, look, she's literally stealing Mom's locket while talking about getting rid of me." The video quality is poor. It could be doctored. He removed his glasses, rubbing his eyes. "Alina, this obsession with painting Stephanie as the villain needs to stop." "Obsession?" My voice cracked. "Do you even hear yourself? There's a man in this video, Marcus Reynolds. He works for your company's insurance division. They're planning something." "Enough." He slammed his hand on the desk, making me jump. "Marcus is a respected colleague. These accusations are completely unfounded. Why won't you believe me?" "Because you've been against Stephanie from day one." He stood up, pacing behind his desk. "She's tried so hard to connect with you, to be a mother figure." I already had a mother. The words burst out before I could stop them. "And Stephanie's trying to erase every trace of her." "Your mother is gone, Alina." His voice softened, but his words cut deeper than any shout. "Stephanie makes me happy. Why can't that be enough for you?" The door opened, and Stephanie appeared, because of course, she did. She always had perfect timing. I heard raised voices. She said, concern etched on her face. "Is everything okay?" "Show her the video, Dad," I challenged. "Let's see what she has to say about it." Stephanie glanced at the tablet, then back at my father. "Oh, honey, is she still going on about that fake footage?" "Fake?" I grabbed the tablet. "This is from my security camera. You can't just—" "Curtis," Stephanie interrupted, placing a hand on his arm. "Remember what Dr. Harrison said about enabling destructive behavior?" My father nodded slowly. "Alina, I think maybe you should stay with Michaela for a while, just until things calm down." The room spun. "You're kicking me out." "We're giving you space," Stephanie corrected gently, "to heal, to process your feelings about your mother in a healthy way. This isn't about Mom." I turned to my father, desperate now. "Dad, please, look at the evidence. Look at what's right in front of you." He wouldn't meet my eyes. "Pack what you need for a few weeks. We can discuss this again when you're thinking more clearly." "More clearly?" I laughed, but it came out more like a sob. "Fine. You want to choose her over me? Go ahead. But remember this moment, Dad. Remember that I tried to show you the truth." I grabbed my tablet and headed for the door, but Stephanie's voice stopped me. "Alina, dear, don't forget to leave your house key, for security reasons." I turned back slowly, meeting her triumphant gaze. "Security reasons," I repeated. "Like having strange men in my bedroom while you destroy my things?" "Curtis," she gasped. "Do you see how she twists everything?" My father just looked tired. "The key, Alina, please." I pulled my keychain from my pocket and removed the house key, the one I'd had since I was 12. It made a small clinking sound as I placed it on his desk. "You know what the worst part is?" I said quietly. "Mom would be so disappointed in you right now." I didn't wait for his response. I walked out of the study, Past the family photos Stephanie had gradually replaced with her own choices. Past the spaces where mom's art used to hang. My phone buzzed. A text from Michaela. How did it go? I typed back. He chose her. I need a place to stay. Her response was immediate. Already setting up the guest room. We'll make them regret this. As I climbed the stairs to pack my things, I heard Stephanie's voice floating up from the study. It's for the best, honey. She needs professional help. I paused on the landing, my hand gripping the railing. They thought they'd won, that they'd finally gotten rid of me, but they'd just made their biggest mistake, because now I had nothing left to lose. You're going to want to hear this, Michaela said, practically dragging me into the small coffee shop downtown. Trust me. A man in a crisp navy suit sat at a corner table, his dark eyes scanning a legal document. He looked up as we approached, offering a slight smile. You must be Alina, he said, standing to shake my hand. I'm Yusuf. I'm a family lawyer, and I believe we have a mutual interest in your stepmother. Yusuf used to work with Stephanie's family. Michaela explained as we sat down. Tell her what you told me. He leaned forward, lowering his voice. 5 years ago, I handled a case involving Stephanie and her previous husband's estate. Let's just say the circumstances of his death were convenient for her. My coffee cup froze halfway to my lips. What do you mean? Insurance payout, substantial one. Yusuf pulled out a folder. And guess who handled the claim? Marcus Reynolds, I breathed. Bingo. He spread several documents across the table. The same pattern repeats. She marries wealthy men. Valuable items go missing. Insurance claims are filed. Then, tragically, the husband either dies or becomes so distraught they divorce, leaving her with a generous settlement. How many times? I asked. This would be her 4th marriage. He tapped a newspaper clipping. Each time, she had help from Marcus. They're careful, though. Never enough evidence to prove fraud. Until now. I pulled out my tablet, showing him the security footage. I have them on video, planning something in my room. Yusuf watched intently, his expression darkening. This is exactly their MO. First, they isolate their target from family. Then mysterious accidents start happening. Dad won't believe me, I said. He kicked me out when I tried to show him the video. Of course he won't. Yusuf's voice held a bitter edge. My own brother didn't believe me either when Stephanie's sister pulled the same scam on him. Cost him everything. Michaela grabbed my arm. Ali, the family reunion. Everyone will be there, including Dad's friend Stanley. He's known Dad longer than anyone. He'll have to listen if Stanley backs us up. It's risky, Yusuf warned. If we're going to expose them, we need more than just the video. We need proof of their previous schemes. My phone buzzed, a text from my younger half-sister, Savannah. Mom's acting weird. She keeps going through Dad's office at night. Call me. I think we just got our opening, I said, showing them the message. Savannah's starting to notice things. Be careful, Yusuf cautioned. Stephanie won't hesitate to turn your sister against you. Then we need to move fast. I pulled out my laptop. Michaela, can you talk to Stanley? Get him on our side before the reunion. She nodded. He always had a soft spot for you, and he never liked Stephanie. I'll dig deeper into Marcus's insurance cases, Yusuf offered. There might be a pattern we can use. What about me? I asked. You, he said, sliding a small recording device across the table. Need to have a conversation with your sister. But first, there's something else you should see. He pulled up an article on his phone. The headline read, Local business owner dies in home accident. Wife inherits estate. This was Stephanie's second husband, he explained. Look at the date. I did the math in my head. 3 months before she met my dad. Exactly. And look who signed off on the insurance investigation. There it was, Marcus Reynolds, declaring the death accidental. Oh my God. The implications hit me like a punch to the gut. You think they're planning to? I think your father is in danger, Yusuf said quietly. And we have 2 weeks until the reunion to prove it. My phone buzzed again. Another text from Savannah. Mom's talking to some man in Dad's study. She looks scared. What's going on? Tell your sister to document everything, Yusuf advised. But carefully. We can't tip our hand too soon. I typed back, keep watching. I'll explain everything soon. Trust no one but me. The reunion's on Saturday the 15th, Michaela said, pulling up a calendar. That gives us exactly 13 days. 13 days to save my father's life. I closed my laptop. Determination replacing fear. Where do we start? Yusuf gathered his documents. We start by being smarter than they are. Meet me at my office tomorrow morning. Bring everything you have on Stephanie, photos, documents, anything. As we left the coffee shop, Michaela squeezed my hand. We've got this, Allie. We're going to take her down. I nodded, watching the sun set behind the city skyline. Somewhere across town, Stephanie was probably already planning her next move. But this time, she'd picked the wrong family to destroy. This time, she was going to lose everything. The park bench was cold, but Savannah was colder. She kept looking over her shoulder, as if expecting Stephanie to materialize behind us. Mom checks my phone, she whispered, handing me a coffee. I had to tell her I was at soccer practice to meet you. Smart girl. I pulled out Yusuf's recording device, hiding it in my sleeve. Tell me what you've seen. It's not just the late-night office visits anymore. Savannah's hands shook as she sipped her coffee. Last night, I heard her talking about Dad's life insurance policy. She was arguing with someone about doubling the coverage. Did you see who it was? Some older guy in an expensive suit. They got quiet when they saw me, but she dug through her backpack and pulled out a crumpled envelope. I found this in the trash after they left. The letter was from an insurance company, addressed to Marcus Reynolds. I scanned it quickly, my heart pounding. This is a request to expedite a policy change. There's more. Savannah lowered her voice further. Yesterday, I overheard Mom on the phone talking about Dad's medication, something about switching his pills. My blood ran cold. Savannah, this is serious. We need to. Alina, a familiar voice called out. We both jumped. Stanley, my dad's best friend, was walking toward us, his face breaking into a warm smile. I thought that was you, and little Savannah, not so little anymore. Uncle Stanley, I stood to hug him. You're here early for the reunion. Thought I'd come scope out some fishing spots first. He winked, then turned serious. Your cousin Michaela called me, told me what's been happening. Savannah looked between us nervously. I should go. Mom will get suspicious if I'm late. Wait. I grabbed her hand. Are you still coming to the reunion? She nodded. Mom can't stop me without looking suspicious. But Allie, her voice cracked. Please hurry. I'm scared for Dad. After she left, Stanley sat down beside me. How much trouble are we dealing with here, kiddo? I played him the security footage on my tablet, then showed him the insurance letter. His face grew darker with each revelation. That snake, he muttered. I never trusted her, but Curtis is like a brother to me. I won't let her hurt him. My phone buzzed. A text from Michaela. Yusuf found something big. Come to his office now. Uncle Stanley, can you give me a ride? 20 minutes later, we crowded into Yusuf's office. He looked like he hadn't slept. Look at this, he said, spreading photos across his desk. These are from Stephanie's previous husband's accident scene. Notice anything strange? I leaned in closer. The wine glass. It has the same pattern as the ones Dad bought last month. Exactly. Yusuf pulled up more photos. Each death followed the same pattern. Expensive glassware, apparently accidental falls, and toxicology reports showing unexpected medication levels. The pills Savannah mentioned, I gasped. She's going to make it look like an accident. The reunion, Stanley said suddenly. That's when she'll do it. Everyone will be there to witness a tragic accident. Michaela grabbed my arm. We have to stop her. We will. I pulled out my phone. But first, we need to get those wine glasses away from Dad. I dialed Savannah's number, praying she'd answer. She picked up on the first ring. Ali? The new wine glasses, I said without preamble. Can you get rid of them? Yes, Mom's out with her friends. I can say they broke while cleaning. Do it now. And Savannah, check Dad's medicine cabinet. Look for anything new or different. Okay, but oh no. What? Mom just pulled into the driveway. I have to go. The line went dead. Stanley put a reassuring hand on my shoulder. We've got 4 days until the reunion, he said. That's 4 days to get everything in order. I'll have all the documentation ready, Yusuf promised. Financial records, insurance claims, everything. And I've got the video presentation prepared, Michaela added. Plus backup copies, just in case. My phone buzzed one last time. A final text from Savannah. Glasses accidentally broken. Found weird pills in Dad's cabinet. Flush them. Be careful. Mom seems angry. I showed the others the message. She knows something's up. Let her worry, Stanley said grimly. The truth's coming out, whether she's ready or not. I stared at the accident scene photos, at the shattered wine glasses, so similar to the ones that had been meant for my father. Stephanie thought she had everything planned perfectly. But she didn't plan on me. She didn't plan on any of us. And in 4 days, her perfect plan would explode in her face. The morning of the reunion dawned bright and clear. But my hands wouldn't stop shaking as I checked the equipment one last time. Laptops charged, Michaela asked, pacing around her living room. Check. Backup drive? Check. Hidden microphone? I adjusted the tiny device clipped inside my blazer. Check. My phone lit up with a message from Savannah. Mom's freaking out. She can't find some important papers. Dad's worried about her. Good, Stanley said, reading over my shoulder. That means she's distracted. Sloppy people make mistakes. Yusuf burst through the front door, clutching a manila envelope. We have a problem. Marcus Reynolds just booked a flight to Mexico for tomorrow morning. He's planning to run, I realized, after whatever they're planning for Dad today. Not if we can help it. Stanley checked his watch. The reunion starts in 2 hours. Everyone knows their positions. We nodded. Months of planning had led to this moment. Everything had to be perfect. My phone rang. Dad's number. I answered on speaker. Alina. His voice sounded strained. Are you coming today? Of course, Dad. Wouldn't miss it. Good. That's good. He paused. Stephanie's been... She misses you. I caught Yusuf rolling his eyes. I'm sure she does, I said neutrally. Maybe after today, we can all sit down, and he broke off, and I heard Stephanie's voice in the background. I have to go. See you soon. The line went dead. He sounds different, Michaela observed. He sounds scared, I corrected. Let's move. We arrived at the reunion venue, a rented lakeside pavilion, an hour early. Family members were already trickling in, setting up food and decorations. Remember, Yusuf whispered, wait for my signal before starting the presentation. We need everyone here. I spotted Stephanie across the lawn, wearing a flowing white dress and directing caterers with practiced grace. She froze when she saw me, then quickly recovered, plastering on a smile. Alina, darling, she air-kissed my cheek. So glad you could make it. Wouldn't dream of missing it, I replied, matching her fake sweetness. Oh, and you brought friends. She eyed Stanley and Yusuf suspiciously. You remember Stanley, Dad's best friend? I said innocently. And this is Yusuf, our family lawyer. The color drained from her face at the word lawyer. Excuse me, she muttered, hurrying away. She's rattled, Stanley observed. Good. More guests arrived. I watched Stephanie pull Marcus aside near the drinks table, their heated whispers carrying across the lawn. Can't do it today, he was saying. Too many witnesses. We stick to the plan, she hissed back. My father appeared, looking pale and uncertain. He kept touching his chest, right over his heart. Dad? I approached him carefully. Are you feeling okay? Just some heartburn, he said. Stephanie gave me some new medication for it. I exchanged alarmed looks with Stanley. Maybe you should sit down. Ladies and gentlemen, Stephanie's voice rang out across the pavilion. If everyone could gather around, we have a special announcement. This wasn't part of our intelligence. I grabbed my phone, texting Michaela, now. The projector screen we'd set up flickered to life. Stephanie's voice filled the pavilion. Not her live voice, but the recording from my bedroom. The girl won't know what hit her. The crowd fell silent. On screen, Stephanie and Marcus plotted in my room. Then the footage changed to security cameras from her previous husband's house. Then financial documents, insurance claims, death certificates. Stephanie lunged for the projector, but Stanley blocked her path. Going somewhere? He asked quietly. Marcus turned to run, but found Yusuf standing behind him. The police are already on their way, Yusuf said. They're very interested in those insurance fraud cases. Curtis, Stephanie's voice turned desperate. They're lying. They've doctored everything. My father stood up shakily. The medication you've been giving me, what was it really for? I was trying to help you. She reached for him, but he stepped back. By poisoning him, I pulled out the pill bottles Savannah had found. We had these tested. Want to explain what heart medication is doing laced with poison? The crowd gasped. Someone screamed. In the distance, police sirens wailed. You don't understand, Stephanie sobbed. Curtis, please. But Dad wasn't looking at her anymore. He was staring at the screen, watching years of deception unfold in high definition. I'm so sorry, Alina, he whispered. I should have believed you. As the police cars pulled up and officers approached, I watched Stephanie's perfect world crumble. Marcus was already confessing, trying to cut a deal. Family members were shouting, demanding explanations. But all I could focus on was my father's face, the moment when the truth finally set him free. The game was over, and this time, the good guys won. I need everyone to stay calm and remain where you are, the lead detective announced, her voice cutting through the chaos. We have a lot of statements to take. Stephanie sat handcuffed at a picnic table, her perfect white dress now stained with grass and tears. Marcus was in a separate police car, already singing like a canary. She planned everything, he was telling another officer. I just handled the paperwork, the deaths, the accidents. Those were all her. You're both going away for a long time, Yusuf said, handing over his files to the detective. Every case, every fraud, every mysterious death, it's all here. My father sat shell-shocked on a bench, Savannah holding his hand. A paramedic was checking his vital signs. The toxicology report will tell us exactly what she's been giving you, the paramedic explained. But you should get to a hospital for monitoring. I can't believe I was so blind, Dad muttered. All those times Alina tried to tell me. I approached, slowly, unsure of where we stood. Dad, he looked up, his eyes red. The locket. Your mother's locket. Did she check her jewelry box at home? Stephanie called out suddenly. Top drawer, false bottom. Everything's there. I never sold any of it. The detective scribbled in her notebook, adding theft to the charges. Why? I asked Stephanie. Why keep it if you hated me so much? Insurance, she said flatly. Always keep leverage. That was my mistake with the others. Not enough backup plans. The others. Savannah's voice shook. How many were there? 3 husbands, Stanley answered grimly. All dead under mysterious circumstances, all with massive insurance payouts. And your father would have been number 4, the detective added, if your daughter hadn't caught on. Dad stood up unsteadily. Alina, I don't know how to even begin to apologize. Later, I said, helping him stay upright. Right now, you need a doctor. I'll drive him, Stanley offered. You stay here and finish with the police. As they left, Michaela appeared with my laptop. You need to see this. We found encrypted emails on Stephanie's cloud account. She's been planning this for over a year. The detective leaned in to look. Before she even met Mr. Stevenson, she targeted him specifically, Yusuf explained. His company, his position, his recent widower status. She had it all mapped out. Stephanie laughed bitterly. You think you've won? You think this is over? Oh, it's over, I said. pulling out one final piece of evidence, a USB drive. Your sister sang like a bird when we showed her the proof. She's testifying against you. The color drained from Stephanie's face. Laura would never. She did, yesterday. Yusuf smiled coldly. Turns out, she didn't appreciate you framing her husband for embezzlement 5 years ago. That's why you really hired me, Marcus realized aloud. Because I helped cover up the embezzlement charges. Take them both in, the detective ordered. We'll sort out the charges at the station. As officers led them away, Savannah touched my arm. The wine glasses I broke. They were meant for Dad tonight, weren't they? I nodded. You saved his life. Miss? A young officer approached with an evidence bag. We found this in the suspect's purse. Inside was my mother's locket. She was carrying it. My voice cracked. Probably planned to plant it somewhere, Michaela suggested. Create more drama. The detective signed a form. You can have it back. We have plenty of other evidence. My hands trembled as I opened the locket. Inside, Mom smiled back at me, her eyes kind and fierce, just as I remembered. She would be proud of you, Savannah said softly, for protecting Dad, for not giving up. Family members began approaching, offering hugs and apologies for not believing me sooner. Aunt Martha admitted she'd always thought Stephanie seemed off. Uncle Robert confessed to seeing her with Marcus months ago, but staying quiet to keep the peace. My phone buzzed. A text from Stanley. Dad's getting checked out. Doctors say he'll be fine. No permanent damage. He's asking for you. Go, Michaela urged. We'll handle things here. As I gathered my things, the detective stopped me. You know, we've been trying to catch these two for years. You did good, kid. I looked around at the aftermath of the reunion. The abandoned food, the evidence markers, the family members giving statements. It wasn't the celebration anyone had expected, but maybe it was the one we needed. Hey, Yusuf called as I headed to my car. What are you going to do now? I touched the locket around my neck, feeling its familiar weight. Now I'm going to help my dad heal. The rest can wait. Because sometimes the best revenge isn't about destroying your enemies. Sometimes it's about saving the people you love. The hospital room was quiet, except for the steady beeping of monitors. Dad sat propped up against pillows, looking smaller than I remembered. The doctors say I can go home tomorrow, he said, as I settled into the chair beside him. They've flushed most of the toxins from my system. I handed him a cup of water. That's good. Stanley's already changed all the locks. Alina. He set the cup down, his hands shaking slightly. When your mother died, I thought I'd never find happiness again. Stephanie seemed like a second chance. Dad, you don't have to. Yes, I do. He reached for my hand. I chose her over you. I let her push you away. I ignored every warning sign because I was afraid of being alone. A nurse poked her head in. Mr. Stevenson, Detective Rogers is here with some questions. The detective entered, notepad ready. Sorry to interrupt, but we finished processing Stephanie's home office. You both need to hear this. She pulled up a chair. We found detailed files on your entire family, bank accounts, relationships, potential weaknesses. She'd been watching you for months before orchestrating a chance meeting with your father. The charity gala, Dad whispered. She said she was there for work. She was there for you, the detective confirmed. And Mr. Stevenson, the toxins we found in your system. They match the substances found in her previous husband's autopsy. I squeezed Dad's hand as he absorbed this. There's more, the detective continued. Marcus Reynolds confessed everything. The insurance scams, the staged accidents, all of it. They're both facing multiple life sentences. What about Mom's things? I asked. Everything's been recovered, but she hesitated. We also found letters from your mother. Dad sat up straighter. What letters? Personal correspondence. Stephanie stole them from your study. She was using them to learn how to manipulate you, to figure out what you missed most about your late wife. A knock at the door interrupted us. Savannah entered, carrying a familiar wooden box. I found this hidden in Stephanie's closet. she said, placing it on Dad's lap. I thought you should have it back. Dad's hands trembled as he opened it. Inside were hundreds of letters, photographs, and small mementos from his life with Mom. She kept everything, he whispered. Used our memories, like research. The good news, the detective said, standing, is that with Marcus's testimony and the evidence we found, this case is airtight. Neither of them will hurt anyone else. After she left, Savannah curled up on the bed next to Dad. What happens now? Now, I said, pulling out a stack of papers from my bag. We focus on healing. Yusuf helped me find a great family therapist, and I thought maybe I could move back home. Dad's eyes filled with tears. You'd want to? After everything? On one condition. I smiled at Savannah. We redecorate. Together. Make it ours again. Can we put Mom's art back up? Savannah asked. The real Mom's, I mean? Everything goes back, Dad agreed. No more hiding who we are or where we came from. My phone buzzed with updates from Michaela. The story had broken in the media. Stephanie's other victims' families were coming forward. A support group was forming. They want us to speak at the trial, I told Dad. Tell our story. He nodded slowly. Then that's what we'll do. Together this time. I pulled Mom's locket from my pocket. I had it cleaned and fixed. Opening it, I showed them the new edition. A tiny photo of the three of us, taken at Savannah's last birthday. See? Perfect fit. Dad reached into the box of letters and pulled out a faded envelope. Your mother wrote this the day you were born. She said to give it to you when you needed it most. My hands shook as I opened it. Mom's familiar handwriting flowed across the page. My dearest Alina, trust your instincts. They will never lead you astray. And when the world seems darkest, remember, you come from a long line of warriors. Never let anyone dim your light. All my love, Mom. She was right, Savannah said softly. You never gave up. Neither did you, I reminded her. We all fought back in our own ways. Dad closed the box of letters gently. I think it's time we stopped living in shadows. Your mother would want us to move forward. Forward, I agreed, but never forgetting. Because that's the thing about truth. It always finds its way into the light. And sometimes, when the darkness finally clears, you find yourself surrounded by exactly who and what you needed all along. Family, strength, home,